This is the FloodMobile. It's an exhibition trailer which is packed full of property flood resilience measures designed to help better protect a property and enable it to recover after a flood. Now we're inside the FloodMobile, I'll show you round. This is a flood door and it's designed especially to keep flood water out. So whilst it looks like a normal door, it's in fact not. It has specifically designed gaskets in the door frame and in the door leaf to keep flood water out. So the minute you lock it, it will create a seal and it will keep water out to 0.6 of a metre. Always remember to look for a British Standard Institute kite marked door or equivalent. Now these here are the flood door and flood barrier section. We haven't got enough space to have all the flood barriers that are available on display here, so we've got a good montage of photographs, and also there's some floodgates here that will keep flood water away from the property, provided you've got a substantial brick wall around your garden peripheries. These also, we've got flood doors here that are for the French window type thing, and you can see they all come in very beautiful colours. The barriers, this one is a BSI certified one. Is a slot-in barrier, and you can see here that it's got a lot of gaskets here that you will have to tighten, and here to create the seal that's needed to keep the water out. And this one here has no fixtures and fittings, so it's better for social housing or rented properties, or if people just don't want fixtures and fittings. But it can be, there's a section in here that the minute you pump it, when you start to pump it here, it will seal against the contours of the brickwork. There's also a pump here that you will create a seal at the bottom of the barrier. When the flood water's gone, you can press this button here, the yellow bits will retract and you can lift it off and take it away. It is heavy, so do tell people it's heavy. So I would recommend sort of an elderly or frail or disabled person doesn't use something like this unless they've got somebody they can call on to fit the flood barrier. This is the pumps and air bricks section. So if you can imagine about 5 cubic litres of water, that's the equivalent to 5 builders' rubble sacks, can get into one air brick every hour. Now this is a self-closing air brick and it will automatically shut the minute the flood water hits it. Now these are air brick covers. They're just as good, but you've got to remember that a flood warning may come at 3:30 in the morning and it's blowing a hoolie, and having to go outside in weather like that with a head torch, because you need both your hands to fit one of these, is quite an inconvenience. And for that reason I would always suggest that people get a self-closing air brick. These are for gas services, the outlet, but do remember they will have to be removed as soon as the flood water's gone. This is a snorkel vent, so if you can imagine, the normal air brick will be down here, but this completely covers it but still allows the air to flow and ventilate underneath the floor. Now this is quite ingenious really. If we think about a listed buildings officers do like vents like this, authentic looking vents, but you could slip a self-closing air brick of the same colour behind it, put this in front, so it will work, but it will still look as the listed buildings officer wants it to. This is a non-return valve, and so are these. This is quite a sophisticated one. It's got 2 flaps in it, and it's great for if you've got multiple occupancy drains coming through that section. It's got 2 flaps, so if you get a bit of toilet paper which can cause some ragging, and it doesn't automatically shut one of them. The second one is there for a backup. These are push fit non-return valves that will go into a normal outlet pipe. So if you can imagine, your wastewater will be leaving your property like this, but if the floodwater should back up from the drains, this will shut. For extra peace of mind, you can lock it as well like that, and you can see I can't pull it up. If people don't want to invest in all these non-return valves, you can get cheaper solutions for under the sink or under the washing machine or dishwasher. A lot of people have told me when they've been flooded and they've cleaned up and opened their dishwasher or the washing machine, the water comes pouring out. So this would prevent that. And this is a small one for toilet overflows, if you've got a toilet overflow that's lower down, or the condensation pipe for a gas boiler that might be quite low down. That will automatically shut and stop water from coming in and wrecking the gas boiler. Also, another cheaper solution is this toilet bung. So you can imagine you put it down the toilet and use this pump to pump it up, and it will create a seal. You can also get them for showers. A lot of people that got downstairs showers will say that the flood water comes up through the shower. This can be put into the pump and stop it from happening. Now these are pumps here. This is a submersible pump which will have to be fitted professionally under the floorboards, or actually out in the garden. That's where you need a specialist provider to do this. But if you can imagine the bullcock of a toilet, this is very similar. When the flood water comes, this will raise by the flood water and automatically activate the pump here, and the water will be evacuated through the wall, keeping the floodwater, the groundwater flood level down. This is a puddle pump. Now, just so you know, the motor has been removed to make it light enough for us to pick it up on a regular basis. It is quite heavy, so do warn people, but one feisty 92-year-old told me she could manage it, so look, if she can manage it, anybody can. It can be sat on the floor, and it's got a series of holes here, and the hose can be attached to it and put out of the window, and it will keep water down to about 1 or 2 mils. So that's why it's called a puddle pump. Many people that come on the FloodMobile tell me that they get a flood warning but don't know what to do. So this area is really the flood preparation area. We've got a table with Wellington boots and a bucket and bins, the sofa with decorators' trestles, and I swear by white boxes, plastic boxes that you can put all your memories in. You can replace a fridge or a freezer, but you can't replace your memories. So putting things in plastic boxes and taking them upstairs is hugely beneficial. You can lift furniture up with an array of planks of wood, using it to pivot and sticking bricks underneath. That is a flood sack, these here, that you can roll up and put down the toilet if you haven't got the non-return valves. You can roll it up and each sack will absorb about 21 litres of water, so can help the stop the flood water from coming up. And we've also got aluminium tape as a last resort. It's cheap, it's about 15 quid a roll, and it will quite effectively keep water out of an air brick. And that's also things like tying your curtains up with an old pair of tights. It doesn't have to cost money to get your house ready for a flood. We've also got here some flood barriers that are sort of great for, you have to wet them first with a hose, but they're great for sort of bow waves. A lot of people tell me that they don't like the bow waves coming as a car passes them. They rise to about 0.2 of a metre and they're 3 metres long. We've got one open here, a shorter version. You will absolutely have to wet them to make them expand. If you can imagine, it's a bit like sort of a baby's nappy for giants. Once the baby's done a wee, the nappy will expand. Well, this is exactly the same, but you've got to use a lot more water. Now, I believe in very much in preparing and being ready, and this is an example of a grab bag. It's waterproof, and you can put it whatever your family needs to survive once they leave the property. Medication, antibacterial stuff, toys for the children, etc. Anything that we've gotten examples of some in here, but they're great because you can put them on your back and you've still got 2 hands free to hold the hands of children. And also, finally, in this section, this is an example of a flood-ready house. It goes down very well with people that visit. It covers off basically every way that you can try and keep the water out of a property, help a property recover, and it's even got a room in it for preparing for a flood. One of the biggest price tags when you've been flooded is a kitchen. Now, believe it or not, this is a recycled plastic kitchen. It can be washed down, sanitised and used again rather than thrown into a skip, and it can really help speed up flood recovery. We've got other examples here of an ordinary looking kitchen. Actually, it's an ordinary kitchen that's bought from a main kitchen provider, but it doesn't come down to the floor. And you've got the bigger cupboards on the wall, but this is called a floating kitchen, so the flood water can go underneath it and can be cleaned up afterwards. This one is a powder coated acrylic steel kitchen, and this one is solid wood kitchen. Solid wood can recover from a flood once it's been cleaned up. And this is another example of plastic recycled kitchens, and trust me, I've been to their showroom and had kitchen envy. A lot of people think that recoverable kitchens are ugly. These are not ugly. This is a plastic floor, and we've put it down especially in the FloodMobile. It can be flooded, pulled up if you want to, washed, sanitised and put back down. Here we've got a display of other kinds of flooring, ceramic tiles, porcelain tiles, etc., and other kinds of recoverable plastic. We can do our best to try and keep the flood water out of a property, and that's what everybody wants to do. But actually, a lot of flood water can come through the walls, and that's why people will sometimes say that flood PFR, property flood resilience measures, have failed. That might not be the case, because one of the weakest spots of where flood water can come into a home is where the wall joins the floor, there. And you can put some crystalline slurry, concrete slurry over that to reinforce that joint to slow down the ingress of water. You can also tank the walls, or about 12.5 cubic litres of water an hour can come through the walls. So you can replace the mortar with waterproof and breathable mortar and paint a cream solution on the outside of the property, which will allow the bricks to still breathe but slow down the ingress of water. Now the maths would be, instead of 12.5 cubic litres of water, it's 2.5 cubic litres of water an hour after doing that. So that's a huge difference. Now, for properties that are of high net worth or regularly at risk of flooding, this is a membrane system. So if you can imagine, the flood water will come through the walls, go behind the membrane here and into this channel, and then will be kicked out in the submersible pump that I showed you earlier. We've also got a selection of plastic skirting boards and door architraves. So these don't look ugly, they look like high glossed skirting boards. So these can be wet and just literally washed down and recovered. And also, finally, we've got waterproof plaster. This is called dragon board or magnesium oxide. This can also be wet, and within about 24 to 48 hours, it will have dried again and regained its stability.